Hey, FUMC Allen family, Pastor Mary Beth here. So I want to tell you about myself. I love history. And I believe that when we know our history, whether it's as individuals or as families or as a nation or even as a church, then we can make informed and enlightened decisions about both our present and our future. When I knew I was coming to be the pastor here, I was both excited and challenged to be coming to a church that has a long history of being impacting and influencing in this community. Did you know that since 1881, Methodists in Allen have been meeting for the purpose of worship and study and service and prayer? That's what this marker from the Texas Historical Commission celebrates. It was put here in 2016. For almost 140 years, we have been a community that is here for good. Loving God and loving neighbor in this community. And I believe that even though our cultural landscape is changing all around us, that we will be here for good for another 140 years. Now, what does it look like to be here for good in a time when people's habits and lives and choices have been altered dramatically by the pandemic, by the shutdowns, by the changes in our world that the pandemic has wrought? I don't know all of how we are supposed to do that, but what I do know is this. For thousands of years, there have been people in the world who are desperate for hope and encouragement and meaning and purpose. We are sometimes people like that. We know people like that. We are surrounded by people like that. And the gospel of Jesus Christ has always brought that encouragement and that sense of meaning and purpose and hope for desperate people. And for almost 140 years, First United Methodist Church of Allen has been a conduit of that good news. What's changing is the means by which that good news is experienced. For many years, the way people experienced that was by coming into a building for worship or study or service. But now, because of a multiplicity of platforms, we are able to share the good news with people on the other side of the world through our live stream of our worship services. A granddaughter can participate in her grandmother's worship service, memorial service, because of a YouTube recording. And Zoom allows us to gather people together who are not ready to leave their homes, but still want to be together to study. I'm so grateful that we have all of those kinds of platforms. As we're moving into the future, I also look back not only at our history, but at the history of the people of Israel. And particularly as the people of Israel came out of exile back home to rebuild their lives and their temple. They came back to a landscape that had been changed and altered dramatically. But they came back knowing that their purpose was to be a light to the nations, and to do that by rebuilding the temple. The rebuilding of that temple marked a new epoch for the Jews, a new way of doing life together. And as I did research about how that second temple compared to the first temple, there's really not a whole lot to compare. The second temple was built on the footprint of the first temple, but here's what was different. The first temple was completely attributed to Solomon and built by slave labor. But the second temple was built and maintained by the people themselves. And it was a whole new season for the Jewish people and for their life together. Well, friends, what I know is the pandemic is marking a new epoch for the church in general and for us as First United Methodist Church of Allen. We have the opportunity to renew our Christian life together, and together with God to build something new that will reach the hopeless, the desperate, all the persons in our community. I'm so grateful to be doing this work and to being the church with you. I'm praying for you. I hope you're praying for me. Shalom.